Are you thinking of moving to Long Island and wondering what the cost of living will be? Well, that's what we are going to talk about today. Cost of living is what it costs to afford necessities like food, utility, shelter, and transportation. We call those the four walls. Before you get set on moving somewhere, make sure you can take care of these four walls and maintain your standard of living in the city you are considering. A good first step is to use a cost of living calculator to see how your current cost of living compares to where you want to move. So give yourself a first bump because you already checked that off the list. Now, let's dig into the nitty-gritty of the expenses that go into cost of living calculation. Long Island is the second most expensive place to live in the United States. When it comes to living in Long Island, we all know it's not the cheapest place to live. It costs a family of four $103,000 a year just to get by. Hi everyone, this is Arlene Medranda, a realtor with eXp Realty and the Ian Alexander Real Estate team. When people are moving to a new state, one of the terms that gets thrown around a lot is the cost of living and how that compares to where you currently live versus where you're planning to move on. Obviously, cost of living is a relative thing. So if you live in less expensive part of the country, moving to Long Island might seem a lot expensive. If you live somewhere where the property values or taxes are low or non-existent, then the moving to Long Island, New York might be more expensive, so it is an important thing to research. For example, if you move from Queens or any of the 5 boroughs, taxes there are cheaper. But if you compare the home prices instead, you will find that things balance out. Although the taxes are higher, your payment for a square feet is less expensive than the New York City. Not to mention that you will own a large piece of property, which means more space. Although we have a combined lower property prices with a high property taxes, we found a much better quality of life on Long Island. Today, we are going to share some quick tips to figure out what the cost of living might be in Long Island, New York, depending on where you are moving from, and just some ways that you can research that topic before diving into making the move. One of the most important determinations you need to make before moving to a specific city or town is how much it will cost you to live there. So when you talk about cost of living, we are talking about the amount of money you will need to make in order to sustain the lifestyle that you will like in this new place. This could include prices of goods and services, taxes, real estate, and all of those things factors into whether or not it is affordable to live in that area. And again, affordable is a relative term, but that's kind of how you figure out whether the cost of living in a certain spot will work for you. There are some online tricks on the wonderful internet. My go-to source of all information initially, and there's ways that you can type in where you currently live, where you are moving to, what the cost of living might be. You can look up at tax records. Those are all public, and that's another piece of information that might be helpful. The only time that it is difficult to calculate is if you plan on buying a new construction home, because those taxes are not accurate until the home has already been built and owned by a homeowner for over a year. So that's kind of tricky area, but there's always ways to look at information and get a more accurate big picture. The largest factors that's going to considering a cost of living will be the housing cost, and that includes the HOA fees, upgrades to the home maintenance to the outside. Everything goes into the home ownership. Transportation, if you need to take public transportation to get to work, or the cost of gas if you are commuting, which in current situations, most of us are working from home, so maybe that's not a big factor right now. Food, how much the grocery costs to buy food. If you are going out to eat things and purchase, you need to know that you will be paying taxes just to enjoy life. Just to give you a kind of idea of one of the resources you can use to calculate this difference in cost of living versus where you live now is smartassets.com. As a quick example, if you currently live in Atlanta, Georgia, and you want to move to Long Island, New York, and you currently make $40,000 as your pre-tax household income, to maintain that standard of living in Long Island, you need to earn $52,522 a year. The cost of living is 31% higher in Long Island compared to Atlanta. And then it breaks that down further, so housing costs, 2-bedroom apartment rents in New York, average is about $2,499 a month. In Atlanta, it's only $1,425. An average home price for a 3-bed, 2-bath home in New York is $403,000, and in Atlanta is $349,000, so huge difference. Again, those are average costs for a larger metro area, so it's not necessarily a specific neighborhood, but it gives you a general understanding. If you have not visited my channel before, I have a video about the 10 reasons why you should move into Long Island. I'm leaving it over here so you can take a look at it. Now, the price of gas in New York is often higher than the national average. GasBuddy data from May 2019 has a gallon of gas in New York going for $3.08, which is almost 20 cents higher than the 2.89 US average. Insurance. Insurance shifts compared to the insurance in New York City. According to CoreInsurance.com, the average insurance rate for drivers in Manhattan tops $4,400 per year and $2,400 in Long Island. If you are okay with giving up your car, New York's public transportation system is one of the best in the country. But like everything else in the state, it's one of the most expensive. A monthly transit pass in New York costs $127 per month. For a direct comparison, consider this. Monthly transit passes in Los Angeles and Chicago cost $100 and $105 respectively. According to Numbeo.com, data from May 2019, groceries in Long Island usually cost about $471.34 a month per person. For the US as a whole, the average is almost $150 cheaper at $324.20, of course. Long Island is famed for its restaurant scene, and those who choose to dine out regularly will see their food budget soar. So you have to weigh all those options, and this gives you a good picture of what those might be. If you try to use smart assets, this one is a little bit more detailed. It allows you to choose more specific cities or counties in the United States, as well as how many people are in the household, and then gives you the breakdown, so the tax costs, differential housing, food, and also shows some information on mortgage rates based on the housing prices and the different areas you are looking. I hope these resources are helpful for you when you are looking into finding out the cost of living difference between where you currently live and where you are looking to move into Long Island, New York. Now, if the area you want to move to has a higher cost of living than the currently you can afford, not all hope is lost. It just means you will need to be willing to adjust your standard of living. Try to bump up your salary when you find a new job, or move to a zip code with a lower cost of living that is not far off from where you really want to live. My name is Darlene Medranda with eXp Realty. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button, give a thumbs up, and leave a comment down below. I post a video every week about real estate tips, and remember, my clients' dreams are my priorities. Thank you, and I'll talk to you soon. I also included a buyers and sellers guide. If you are interested, you can download it below in the description.